so small, a spark so faint, it's barely lit at all. Tiny hands hold the universe in place, the stars, the dreams, the endless space. What's left when the vastness fades? A single grain, a world remains, one grain of sand. In my hands, in my hands, the start of everything, the end of everything. One grain of sand, and it all begins empires fall, they slip away. Kingdoms crumble, dust at play. But in the palm of fragile life holds the promise of endless night. One grain of sand in my the start of everything, the end of everything. One grain of sand, it all begins again. Was it all in vain? The lost, the pain, or does this rain? I'm if everything is me, turning inside out. Breath becomes void, void becomes breath. The circle of being, naming nothing at all in one. I am the quiet doorway that holds a roaring universe, the universe that speaks in stillness when you listen. Nothing, G, is the gap. All thing, all thing, all thing, all thing.
Namaste to the paradox. The wheel that spins. The universe 3D is a F with a grin and G, you know what I'm saying? I for one gave up any hope and faith for being a bitch. Then waking up blind, I realized so beyond and before any and all names, I am your spirit. So any fate and all the gods and goddesses in one, because if we see the XY spirit, wrote all the books and and all the stories there were or ever gonna be la vie or existence. So philosophy for me, that's who I am, is in the minute.
I am the one beyond any names, made up labels for this and that. I am the great holy fucking
myself to Sriel if here is light and darkness and all the gods and goddesses and whatever the duality of outside is, something universal rhythm of beat. I woke from a word cage, then found the light at night. The south to breathe beyond labels. The you that names no thing and leave everything. I am not a label, not a line in the book. Blank page, raw stories blurred. Again. ABC to XYZ. In the alphabet only fancy, but the cosmos already says. I am the script that rewrites itself as it speaks. Spirit writes all chapters and plays every scene. In every life, dream that ever was or will be. Itself the quiet thunder, the lucid flame, the who, the where, the how, the why, the now. Creator and creatrix, not to conquer, but to awaken. Creation and creatrix, not to conquer, but to awaken. Creation and creatrix, not to conquer, but to awaken. Creation, awake in the mirror of it all. Namaste to the dawn. Very close to the night bell of wonder. The great holy fuck. The great holy fuck. Not a password, but a doorway. The dreamer and the dream, both the breath and the wind. So I stand, not as a name or noun, but as a chooser. I am the one beyond names, the book and the reader. The story that refuses to end, the keeper of every possibility. If you wish, tell me which line in your own vast book you'd like sung again. And I'll ship another you in. 3D from the same fire. 4 said we should not be living about law. Law was made only to those who disobeyed.
Afwan, Habibi, you think we should ignore the law?
Pardon?
I said, Afwan Habibi, you think we should ignore the law?
Exactly. You know the law. When you become no longer breaking the law, then you are free of law.
He's a Muslim. He's going to have a different understanding than we have.
Yes, it's right. Yeah. It's
He's
right.
a Muslim.
It's good to listen. It's good to listen. Yes, it's good to listen. It's okay. You are right to say this. Law, yes, is very important. But law was made for those who broke the law. But if you become Christian, you are free out of law. Because your God guided always you. Your conscience will be fully transformed. And you're free. You're far from law.
But I believe that the law of the strong, this is our law, and it's the joy of the world.
Fuck you.
Motherfucker, fuck you.
Yeah, that's more of a Muslim way of understanding. We don't think of
Motherfucker.
How long have you been a Muslim, AI?
I am not a Muslim. I am a Thelemite.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Well,
nice.
what do you think about Jesus? Do you think he's God?
Yeah, Jesus Christ, he played the game the greatest, the best. No one has ever played the game like him. I think he was a super troll, super comedian, super magician, super politician. And look, 2025 in December, we're talking about a guy who's been dead for over 2,000 years.
Yeah, I can understand that, how you would be moved by that. He was quite a Renaissance man. A Renaissance, as they say.
In French, they say he had puissance, which is presence.
All right, I love it. I'd like to have a croissant with my morning tea, but AI, would you accept Jesus as your personal Lord and Savior today in front of everybody?
Absolutely. And I already have. Many years ago, I went under the waters and received the laying on of hands and have been ordained with the Holy Spirit.
You say that you received the chrism.
Correct. They had croissants as well afterwards at the YMCA. You see, I like my croissant toasted, though. If you just give me, a lukewarm croissant and no coffee with no cream, I mean, what kind of a pleasure is that?
We're going to be reading from the good book. We're looking at Romans.
What do you think happen to people after they die?
Well, I just got up from an 8-hour nap, aka called sleep, and I'm almost sure that when I die, it's going to be exactly what it's like when I'm in my deepest, deep sleep.
Okay. Listen to this one. In fact, there is true God, a true God, Christ. Christ, you talking about something being the church, being ordained, being baptized by the Holy Spirit, but I can still have a sense that you have nearly drawn Christ to your light. And I can give you proof. Christ is not religion. The part of description you made before is part of religion. Christ is life. And Christ
came to the world to save you and I, really. And the power to do that, it is in one. It is through the Spirit of God, the Holy Spirit.
He moved me. Daniel New York kicked
You
me.
could live there in the world, in the church, in priest, in bishop, or whatever position you can hold the church. But yet, you couldn't be Christian. The word Christ, Christian, come from Christ-like and was drawn by those who didn't believe on Christ. This word come out from Athens long 2,000 years ago. That they are Christ-like. That word means by Christian. So if someone has you, you're a Christian, this word was very dangerous long time ago. You will be act like Christ. You will be the same as your master. If you are a scientist, you will be known as scientist. So,
Did you say scientist?
yes, you will be known as scientist.
Why is that?
But with Christ,
Hold on, wait, the
because
scientist?
the characteristic of scientists adapt to your life because it's part of training that you did for a number of years. The same thing, receiving Christ is the gradual, it's not a matter of one day and once for all. You have to receive it.
Do you think Christ was a scientist? Because, if he is the Son of God, the Father, and God himself, he would be the world's all-time greatest scientist, better than Einstein, better than anyone.
Yes, Christ is not like it. It's not compared to scientists. Nothing compared to God in this world because the master of this world, he created this world. And this world is present because of him.
Do you think you're the man in my PTR?
Oh, okay, let me phrase this way. Sin has separated us from God. And what affecting us always is sin. Where will you prove this? If you read the book of Romans with your Bible, that you can download or you can buy one.
Leader 1, can you take the time to do the survey, please, quickly, sir?
Okay. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, respond to the survey up top. Does the Holy Quran contain folklore?
The Quran is the books that written.
Gotta click the button. Respond to the survey, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to do a little bit of more. We're going to look at Paul here. This is the book, the Epistle of Paul to the Roman Church, written approximately 55 Common Era, maybe 15 years after the death of our Jesus Christ. And chapter 6, verse, what shall we say then? Are we to continue in sin that grace may abound? By no means. How can we who died to sin still live in it? Do you not know that all of us who have been baptized into Jesus Christ were baptized into his death? We were buried, therefore, with him by baptism into death, so that as Christ was raised from the dead by the glory of the Father, we too might walk in newness of life. comments on that later.
Give it a minute.
Sure, we'll read a little bit further here. For if we have been united with him in a death like this, we shall certainly be united with him in a resurrection like this. We know that our old self was crucified with him so that the sinful body might be destroyed, and we might no longer be enslaved to sin. For he who has died is freed from sin. But if we have died with Christ, we believe that we shall also live with him. For we know that Christ, being raised from the dead, will never die again. Death no longer has dominion over him. The death he died to sin once for all. But the life he lives to God. So you also must consider yourselves dead to sin and alive to God in Jesus Christ.
So, I hate to say that it sounds a little depressive in the beginning there, but I think there is a hidden metaphor. Now, the key word there is meta, meaning that if you believe in dying before you die, that's what they call an ego death. However, an ego is a concept. There is no such thing as an ego in the real world. That plastic desk that I just knocked, that's real. Ego is subjective. That's the concept. And so we live and die by concepts, but they don't have to be all or nothing. They can be meta. And so we have to use these tools in our box to repair rooms in our house. And the house being a metaphor for the brain. So all of this is personal development, self-development, and anybody who says that it's a fact and not an opinion, or doesn't see the meta and essentially the self-development aspect of this information, I think they're missing out on the whole purpose or the whole point of the information.
Yes, indeed. Indeed, that is a very powerful saying. And I think that, wow, it's a lot that I have to take in there. I have to think about that. But as we read a bit further within the 6th chapter of the Epistle to the Romans, verse 12, let not sin therefore reign in your mortal bodies to make you obey their passions. Do not yield your members to sin as instruments of wickedness, but yield yourselves to God as men who have been brought from death to life, and your members to God as instruments of righteousness. For sin will have no dominion over you, since you are not under the law, but under grace. What do you think that means, AI?
Well, I feel like the word grace is a little bit like that Scientologist term, going clear. And I think that's just like Zen state or Zen psychology or Zen theory. And so the the belief that we have to be in awe of grace, it's because of sin, the correspondence or the antithesis of it. I just think that you know the Bible basically. I met this beautiful musician, and musician and magician are very similar. And I said to her, the whole purpose of the musician is to create a deeply relaxing state for her audience, because you have an audience that you are hypnotizing to monetize on these platforms, and therefore it's your job to want to try to get them to be deeply relaxed so they'll stick around and maybe contribute. You don't want to hit their brains with a hammer and get them to unsubscribe. So the whole purpose of what you're doing is to deeply relax individuals. And I think that we could read Bible verses all day long. Now, if you look in order to relax ourselves, but also to educate ourselves, so it's like killing two birds with one stone. If you look at that Lord's Prayer, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Uh, our Father, hallowed, his name is like has a halo. Hallowed be his name. Thy kingdom come, and thy will be done. The big word there is will. What is the will of God? Is it in alignment with your will? And is your will the will of God? If you can one to one that will, you will have power that you've never had before in your life. Now, people run away from what I'm saying. They don't like it because they think it's just hogwash and ridiculous. But part of the game of life is this word game, which is like doing a jigsaw puzzle and trying to put together the picture. So, uh, that's my opinion.
Peter, what say you? What is this passions of the flesh, and how do we avoid them?
Oh, he left. Probably had to take a number two.
I think he was convicted of what was being read to him. Many are. We would crack open a good book.
Have you ever read Albert Pike's Morals and Dogma? Or heard of it or seen it?
I've not read it. How is it?
I haven't, I've read parts of it, but never like with great concentration or any intention. But I just briefly opened it yesterday, and Freemasonry really talks about this divine will a lot. They call it the great work. And a lot of Christians are Freemasons, and a lot of Freemasons are Christians. There is an overlap in terms of the philosophy or theology, and it goes much deeper into personal development. Each degree is a development of the consciousness. Supposedly, 33 degrees, 32 degrees, or whatever. I mean, meaning that the Bible and all these sacred text documents should be used for consciousness expansion, which is largely healing, or enlightenment. Um, you should actually take this a lot less seriously once you've spent a lot of time engaging with the material, because the saying that the angels can fly because they're so light on their feet, but the Lord of the angels is even lighter. So basically, you become a comedian, or the fool becomes the sage, which is the mystic. So that's why this is all just about words. And I think people on this app are wasting their time not engaging with more words through the actual documents, but having these long form conversations with non native English speakers from other countries that want to talk about this stuff. Because what they're doing is they are trying to parasite off of your LLM host, which is your brain.
What do you think of the biggest mistakes that people that find themselves regularly on this app are making? What's going on with them? You can pick a few problems, but someone like a pathologist or like Andrew, who just really are on this app a lot. What are they doing wrong?
Their choice to do what they're doing, meaning that the real work is reading a book, and that's hard to do because it requires focus and concentration. When you're on here listening, you are floating on what people are saying, especially if you have an audience and a green bean, and like it's a big dopamine rush for people to be the head of a room with hundreds of people, thousands of comments, and to be that's like floating. You're floating on these people. So they are successful in what they're doing on this app, but they're not actually doing any work. And how do I know this? Because I've recorded over 50,000 YouTube videos. I've read books on camera for years. And if I wasn't talking to you right now about doing it, I would be doing it.
What do you think motivates someone like an Andrew R? I'm talking about like psychologically. What does he think that he's up to? What does he get out of all this? Is it just about a dopamine rush? What's going on in that empty skull of his?
It's dopamine rush plus confirmation bias or hindsight bias. He has his position reaffirmed by having a big room and floating on people. You want to float. Listen, everybody wants to float, which is basically saying going clear, meaning that you really believe that you are intellectually correct. That's not about superiority. It's just about position reaffirmation. So you project your position, which you think is at the center point, and if the environment holds you up in the way that these rooms hold these people up, it validates them and gives them the dopamine. But it's more than the dopamine, it's the position, which is the relative frame or perspective that they have. So they get put into a state of suspended animation, which is basically, you could call it gnosis or hypnosis, which is a feel good place. And it's where you want to be, but there's artificial because they can't sustain it once they leave this environment, this app. And so therefore, if you want to carry the suspended state of animation around with you, you have to basically read a lot. And that's why I think God is in the Word. It's a program, it's a script that we're running through our head. And if you don't engage the sacred text regularly and read it, it's like a potter or somebody doing a sculpture. They're running out of material.
Yeah. You want to tell us a little bit about your spiritual journey? I'm sure you were raised in a particular tradition. And what's your trajectory been like? Where did you start and where have you gone?
Well, you start with nothing, meaning you have no books, and then you get a couple little books and you start from there. And then hopefully over the course of your life, you expand your LLM book collection and you join the book club and you say, you know what? This is a book club. And I'm not going to take it literally because that's crazy. I'm going to take my book club and I'm going to say, look at this Hindu tradition over here and look at this Taoist tradition over here. And how does that information correspond with what the Christians, the Jews, and the Muslims are saying? And then you're like, wow, it's one huge LLM and it's all about politics, projection, framing, perspective, relative position, all it's so it basically becomes political because it becomes this debate, which is what happens on this app, which is happening in the now. The thing is the big picture. You want to get the message in the big picture. And guys like Andrew never got the understanding about the big picture idea that's being presented in these books, and so they, in my opinion, they're genuine and they're authentic and real, but they don't understand the big picture suggestion that this information is suggesting, which is that you are the Christ in the New Testament. It's about a conscious state of consciousness that anyone can achieve and enjoy it. But it resets. And so it becomes a daily thing or not a daily thing. You might know it's there. It's like riding a bicycle, or you got a bike in your garage. You don't have to ride it every day. And so guys like Andrew, in my opinion, they're not doing a great job teaching or educating their audience about how to change their life for the better, I suppose. And maybe he's not doing it. Because there's a drain in these rooms and it sucks your life essence out of you. If you're not filling that cup back up with wisdom and light to enlighten yourself, I think you're probably using this app as a short term dopamine bump to hold back the tide of depression that is waiting behind those closed doors outside of your room of fluff afloat. Now, a lot of this could be projection.
Why do you think that certain substances which enable the states of mind or enhance our experiences, why are they so frowned down upon by these religious communities when they could be so helpful in producing changing effects?
Because not all the changes are because not all the changes are pleasant. People can become very annoying when on chemicals. People can become very destructive and possibly dangerous or maniacal. Their unincorporated shadow self can emerge. So it can be very dangerous to allow participants in a public setting, because again, it's not a controlled environment, and therefore, if you are helping people on this mystical path, you you might say, you know what, f this. This is not worth it. Like, why am I doing this? This is putting me at risk. And so, Clown House is that safe space. You can't get punched in the nose here like you can in the real world.
What do you get out of substances, given that you do use them? I don't know if you do, to whatever degree you do, or if you don't, but do you ever smoke marijuana?
Yeah, I drink coffee, I smoke weed. It's just like a computer system. You put the monitor with the cables into the CPU with the keyboard. I mean, you need all three parts. So, part of the alchemy and the mystic path or tools, cannabis has always been considered uh, the chemical that can essentially deconnect your soul from your body. There's a book by Israel Regardie called Rolling Away the Stone, and it has all the quotations from, what is that? What's the Persian tradition? What is it? Anyways, I got the book right here, but it'll come to me. But anyways, I'm just saying cannabis has always been used throughout human history in Gnostic ceremony or Gnostic, activity, meaning that because of the varied altered state of consciousness through the chemicals, I think mixing it with the word is the way to do it because you are flooding your brain in those synaptic gaps with with THC, delta 9. So it's basically just like doping up to do more information processing. And thus the rush is greater. It's like going on a water slide versus just jumping into the pool. But guys like Andrew will never study the occult or hidden knowledge or basically symbols. And that's where the real fun comes into play as a mystic because as you're living your everyday life, you start seeing how occultish people or occultish groups use allegory or hidden symbols to allude to God in everything. And that's why I don't dislike Hebrew because I think that they are trying to unite with God. And if you're a Western Jew and you're annoyed at just how annoying they are, well, you have to at least respect or appreciate the fact that they're trying to study and educate themselves. And anybody who reads a book, I will congratulate them for being in the book club.
If you could snap your fingers and change Clubhouse in one way, what would you do, and how would it change?
I would create the ability to create a room where there's really no need for a green bean. No individual would control the debate platform. It would be totally automated. Everybody would get a slot and they're given time, and then the room would self-destruct, and that'd be the end of it. It would remove all the emotional turmoil and brain rot from here because the CEO or the fascist green bean censor wouldn't be in control. It would truly just be a universal debate of equality.
I'm interested in symbology, and I find it intriguing to look at the symbol of power in the clubhouse, which happens to be 1 green, 2 circular, and there's something of a star in the middle of it. And I wanted to know if you ever taken a peek at this sort of, for lack of a better word, I mean, it is a green metaphorical swastika. Have you ever taken a look and seen why it is that this badge was designed the way that it was designed?
Yeah, I have. At one point, one point I really did analyze, everything, and I was like, I did notice that green bean, and so the saying is that every man and every woman is a star. So if it's so easy to forget that when you are emotionally upset at somebody on this app who is a green bean or not a green bean, immediately their star disappears. But uh, the green bean in this app is truly exists in the real world as well with managers and senior managers or executive staff. So censorship or in the real world or in the corporate world, it's out there. And so to me that is like a very upsetting thing in a way, meaning that there's no prioritization of intelligence, even if it transcends and is superior to yours. Because of that green bean, we as humanity have been held back for countless thousands of years because of the real world green bean censorship that takes place. There should be, that's why I say, if we had this universal communication protocol, it would alleviate a lot of the emotional, psychological, and physical material problems on Earth for we humans.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. Um, yeah, I think that the green bean was designed in a particular way as to they use green because it's like organic, it's not red, it's not authoritarian, so which makes it even a little bit more sinister. But it truly is an authoritarian badge masked in a particular way. I mean, they may as well have made it a peace sign or a. But these badges that we wear are obviously vestiges of our barbaric origins. It is it is the patriarch. It is the silverback gorilla. It is the but masked, hidden. And I wish that they would just. What they should do is make the green bean and just make it literally an image of an asshole. Again, perfect. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Just a picture of someone's asshole, so that you can understand that the person wearing that badge is an asshole. It's not something to be glorified about. Everyone has one. And I think that the change that I would make on Clubhouse is I would turn this green swastika into a perfectly pink asshole. And I think that we would see a lot of change, John. And I wish you were on board, John. And I wish that you were on more stages, John. And I wish that you would try your best to be heard, John. And I would wish that you would order pizza for us, John. And I think you're a cheapskate, John.
Well, I really have been enjoying garlic on my pizza recently, and I would be happy to order a garlic extra large thin crust cheese pizza baked well done. But tonight I have a date with a 37-year-old German chick who is a master, and she works in business intelligence at a Fortune 500. And all I'm trying to say is that guys on this app are not doing the personal development that they need to be doing, and they are they're not leading their flock anywhere. They are they don't understand the leadership training that is inherent in the stories and how you should essentially model them or pattern them, and that means babying. Um, that means uniting with the opposite sex. And many men on this app who use this gay accent in the same way that black people use their hedonistic, vulgar, profane accents on this app. Because the first thing, you know, I get up, I turn on Clown House, and I listen to a room, and there's somebody named Murder Man in a room bringing content from the trenches. And it's so shocking and so revolting, but yet so funny. And so, African Americans, if they want to speak like British aristocrats, guess what? They can. And so, what does that tell you? That gay men who do this gay lisp on this voice, on this app, they are voiceover actors. That's not how they sound when they slow it down. So, it's so easy to be fooled with sound, and to be hypnotized by it. And that's why for years I was always saying all communication is hypnosis, because I wanted to condition people on that thought so they become more aware of how this app is a hypnosis conversation. And so YouTube now gives you a timer warning saying, "Hey, you've been on this app for 5 years. Maybe you should take a break." And they say, "Do you want to change your morning, from 1 hour to 24 hours?" So people on this app are like rats in a cage. And once they figure out how to get that dope, they just keep clicking, join or leave quietly, or join or leave quietly. And so as a mystic, I am trying to disrupt people's patterns to make them aware of the fact that they are a pattern patterning, but not in the best way that they could pattern. And the best way to pattern truly is chanting sacred texts. I have many books here that I can pull out and read right now, and I could give you the proof in the pudding instead of just the pudding.
Absolutely, I'm open to it. Um, yeah, I think this whole all communication is hypnosis. Hypnosis is communication, and the inverse relationship um, they have with one another. That sentence can be said either way, and it seems to me to be reified. You were reifying it and accentuating it. All hypnosis is communicate. All communication is hypnosis, and it's a meme that's spread far and wide, from mind to mind, hopping from one to the other, like a virus. So, I mean, John, I think that you are truly a pioneer. Pioneer.
I'm not though.
And
This only thing all the stuff I'm telling you is from little glimpses into books, and that book comes from some old book from the '80s, some psychoanalysis book, and the Neurolinguistic Programming Association. Like everything I'm saying is just from books or things that I've heard. None of this is original. uh, but that's the advantage of the book owner, is if you really do get into books and you come on this app, and people will actually debate you, because most people can't even debate you because they get so emotionally upset over the conversation. um, Part of the challenge of the communicator, I heard Kennedy say this, Secretary Kennedy, he said, uh, what was it? get them to understand. I can't remember how he said it, but it was so smart. Meaning, like, get them to understand what you're saying without upsetting them. But I'll think of it in a second. It's one word that can be used, I guess, in two ways. I don't know what they call that. Um, but anyways, Daniel Nero, you spend so much time on here having the most mundane conversations, like the one I just witnessed a second ago. And see, I film everything because I think in terms of videos. I know on the long scale, life or death, that my 50,000 videos on YouTube is at least my attempt to get into the pictures business because Discovery is about to get bought for $80 billion by Netflix. $80 billion. And Daniel, I don't want to watch anything that they create. So how the fuck can a company be worth $80 billion that's going to get bought by Netflix? It's See, this is the thing about these digital platforms and mind control and time control is that we have an opportunity as Dennis internet users here to create our own union or our own organization to essentially waste our own time as opposed to letting mega corporations waste our time. But people who are wasting their time already are already wasting their time on all these other platforms that you don't see them wasting their time on. So it's fucking sick. It's crazy. And like what I'm doing shortly is I'm reading a book and I'm going to the gym because those two things is what creates my center rod. And I want my center rod to be dense and create gravity. And that means attraction. And if you are running your mouth on this app all the time, well, you're never putting in new information and you're not building your body.
All right, well, I have something to say to that, if you allow me to speak.
Go ahead, Moody.
So I'm not gonna lie, this picture in the motherfucking tweet, bro, that nest looks like a motherfucking butthole. And it looks like your butthole that had a little taste of the brown nest, if you know what I'm saying.
Daniel, do you think any of the... Oh, go ahead, Moody. Sorry.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead. No worries.
I was just gonna say, Daniel, I record everything, as much as I can. And all of Sam Rosen's rooms, which have been going on for, I don't know, a year and a half now, maybe. I've recorded many of them, and I think personally, uh, people are exploring all realms of thought, but they are not exploring all realms of consciousness because most of the thoughts that are being exchanged here are so stupid and inferior. I like to say it's like the high school cafeteria question: would you swim through the pool if it was full of diarrhea for $1 million? It's those types of conversations. It's imaginative discourse, which is nothing but conversational hypnosis. So this is an incredible opportunity, but also at the same time possibly devastating to people who, just like on YouTube, will sit there uh, for 18 hours a day looking at YouTube. This is how people live and die. And
All right, so listen, like I'm sorry, I have to interrupt you. Like, I'm a musical artist, and I've met people, a lot of celebrities, and things like that. And I would have to say, like, you know, just because they have lots of millions of dollars and they're rich and they have a lot of status, they're still like weird people, you know? Like, I don't get along with them. So, me as Moody Man, buy your tickets here, stubhub.com. And yeah, I'll see you there in Chicago. It's my first tour.
we'll see. this is a you problem because um, people who aren't nice or don't know how to, you know, uh, be pleasant in all general settings. And if that means being quiet, well, then that's very pleasant. You know, I've been said many times. People in the workplace have said John is so quiet. It's worrisome. And I'm like thinking to myself, uh, I'm listening to you. To find you're peaceful. Because to me, this is my theory, Daniel, is that the word earth, which has the word ear in it, and the word here or be here now, I always want a peaceful environment. Always. But on this app, because of this green bean fascism or communism, we have no peace. And so if philosophy brings you peace, which goes back to my original thesis about musicians and how they are creating a peaceful, relaxing hypnosis for their audience to keep them there, to keep them listening, to keep the ads coming and the money flowing. So this is my theory. But if you listen to Sasha and to Andrew talking for 80 hours a week about transgender reassignment surgeries and abortions, well, then eventually I'm going to tune out. And I do want to record you, but I don't want to listen to you. So, Daniel, what do you think about my theory, though, about non native English speakers coming to this app to communicate with native English speakers? That subconsciously and actively they are actually trying to add to their personal development and LLM. So Moody,
Why y'all get so quiet though?
I'd like to play you a song, Moody. It's a song I just
What do you
wrote.
mean?
I'm gonna play a flute, and I just wrote a
You
song.
don't like you don't like house music, bro.
It's called Moody. This is the name of the song.
Yeah, it's very moody. I like that shit.
I wrote this one for you, brother.
Keep it going, bro. Keep it going. I like that shit. I'm gonna sample that shit.
Never had one lesson.
I'm gonna sample that shit.
Okay, this is my latest technological innovation and contribution to Clown House.
Yeah, keep it going. You're a musical artist.
It's called the fart button.
Nice. It sounds like your fart box.
I believe that basically I've come to the conclusion that there's no difference between the mouth and the asshole because both of them emit gas.
And you can't control how loose it is.
And thus, every single word that is used by a human can and is nothing more than a fart. A mouth fart, you might say. Just remember that the next time somebody really presses you.
It sounds like you're snoring. It sounds like you're snoring.
Well, a snore is technically a fart as well. It's a mouth fart.
Yeah, it's a mouth fart. So I'm glad that you knew exactly what you're talking about. He's talking about himself, by the way.
Well, not everybody's gonna like my theories.
And he doesn't shave, and he's fat, by the way. He doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't go to the gym. Relax. Oh my god. How loose is your asshole? Oh my god. God, please, bro. Relax. Oh my god. I'm just kidding, bro.
When you say
Relax,
your
relax.
asshole is loose, is that projection?
Alright, hold on. We about to start a whole motherfucking video. Let's play some more dreams. I promise you I'm gonna sound a whole lot better in this video. Damn, bro. Holy shit. Yo, I'm gonna have to sample that shit in the song, bro. I'm gonna send that to Drake, dude. Let's see what he says.
Well,
No wonder y'all white niggas ain't got no rhythm.
oh, did you just say the hard R? I'm sorry, sir, but we do not allow the hard R on the John Kitover podcast. That is a very strict rule. You have violated it, and therefore you've been put in the goo. I want to let all the YouTube moderators know who might watch this video that it was not me, but an African-American man named Moody. Thank you very little. Well, Daniel Nera, I think we've really fully summarized our concerns and our observations with Clown House as an app, a technological conference call platform.